Hello, and we are live. Welcome back to This Radiant Woman. I am excited to be here, and today we're going to be talking about the master key to your success, happiness, and fulfillment in life. And I am looking forward to this conversation today because I'm going to be sharing more of my formula and kind of how I have been called to give this information to you. And this is something that I previously have only shared in private spaces that have been paid. And so I'm going to be sharing a little bit with you here live. And then I also have a free little gift for you where you can dive in a little deeper if this is something that is resonating with you. And so let's just get down to it. The master key is we're going to be talking about one thing and then I'm going to be breaking it down. And that master key is your consciousness. And so what do I mean by that, right? So we have likely heard this term a lot. You may have even done some of your own work around this. But what does this actually mean, and how do you actually implement this and practice this to expand your consciousness? And so when we talk about being conscious, we are not only talking about that we are awake, we are aware. We have the ability to be aware of ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, the environment around us, ourselves, right? What does this actually mean? And when we talk about expanding our consciousness, how do we actually do that? And so you also likely have heard or done some work around recognizing that our beliefs are, we all have limiting beliefs and in our subconscious. So under our actual awareness, there is programming and things conditioned, which is affecting how we interact with, engage in our lives, in our consciously, as we're, going about our lives. And so the thing that I'm going to add to this conversation where is often missed is that consciousness is not only our self-awareness and the ability to be aware, it's also the energy that we live in, right? So that is a really important piece to this because it's our beliefs is one part of it, right? But the actual energy behind where we're coming from, what we are putting out, that has just as much of an impact as the beliefs that we're having. And so this is why a lot of people have, right, they've either done the mindset work, they've tried affirmations, and they've gotten themselves to a certain point and found that to be helpful, where some people actually completely refute that. They get, it kind of gets them upset because they have tried affirmations and feel that they don't work. They, they even kind of get like a, they have a resistance to it, right? And so I'm going to share more about why that is, right? So our mindset, how I describe that in my formula. So we have our lens. This is our view of ourselves, of others, and the world around us, right? Our environment. And so our lens is something how we experience how we actually have our human experience. And this is where mindset and beliefs, that's where that lives. And there's different ways how we can be viewing that, right? Depending on what you can think about it, like what set of glasses that you have on. And one that is very common is feeling like things are just happening to you, that you don't really have control over certain things, especially outside of yourself, and things are just happening to you. And so, what that does is then you're in a reactive state, and so you're just kind of reacting to, um, what comes your way, what is happening. So there's not really an intention behind that. There's also, right, was recognizing that maybe we have taken kind of that ownership, some of that responsibility of wanting to get things done and have success in our lives. So that's likely, right, somewhere where you're living because you've had the success. I often work with very science driven, educated, successful women. And so, from this lens, we recognize that things are happening by us. And so, this is where we can get caught up in very much kind of that hustle, go, 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 because we are recognizing that things are like, I've got to get things done and I've got to be productive. And this lens of, right, things happen as long as like I do them. Oftentimes, like, we're thinking like I do them by myself or I do them on my own. And maybe we aren't relying on others or allowing support in to receive from others. That's kind of a different conversation, but just recognizing that's how, and even if you do, maybe you do allow that from some of the people around you, your colleagues, coworkers, your spouse, etc. But you still have this kind of mindset that it's by you, and it's just like based on this kind of labor or hard work. And so, another lens that we can move into is recognizing that things happen for us. And what I mean by that is that there's something greater involved other than myself or me as a human. There is something greater at play here. And it doesn't really matter if you are thinking about this scientifically or spiritually. And if you're attracted to me or my work, likely you're going to have a combination of both of those. One of the, the purpose behind my work is being able to integrate ourselves into more of kind of a whole, full being, and it's often being able to merge those two. While coming back to the lens of that things are happening for us, we can recognize that there is a greater, I don't want to get into this, because we all have different ways of viewing that. But what I want to acknowledge is something beyond you and your actual physical work and actions is at play here. And it's within this lens that we can really start creating more of our experiences and feeling more of that we are not just part of it. So it's not like it's happening to us where we're reacting, but it's also like we're playing a part. And then we've got this other greater part that's, playing along with us. And so it's with those together that we can expand our consciousness, expand really our experiences. And this is, when we talk about the lens, this is how I'm viewing things. And so this does also relate to how I'm thinking about things, the mindset that I have, as well as taps into the beliefs that I have, even subconsciously. And so, like I said, I go into this a lot deeper and even go beyond these three lenses that I've described here in my Revive Your Radiance 5D roadmap. And that will be available to you. You can check out the description if you would like to get that and go a little bit deeper into this. And like I said, I'm excited to be offering that to you. That is something that I'm offering as a gift to you, and really kind of an intro so you can dive into this work a little deeper. Where previously that is something that I've only offered to private clients, or there was something that was paid. And so I want to move into the reason why a lot of people who have stopped at mindset work, or they have kind of resisted even the idea of that our mindset really can create that much change for ourselves, or they've had negative experiences with affirmations, or just feel like that they haven't really worked that much. And that is because our consciousness, the formula that I use really is our lens plus our frame equals our dimension that we live in, or our actual experience internally and externally that we are having. And so moving into frame, what that really is, this is where that energy that we live in, right, is recognizing other than just our mind and our body, or I mean, our mind and our beliefs, we also have a body, right? We are here as a human living in our body. And right, there is a lot that goes within that. And that is our frame, in that we have right, our body has a lot of complex processes, so it is connected, it's sending signals to and from our brain, our heart, right? So we've got our body, we also have our nervous system, right? And that's become very much more a lot more people are talking about that. We have a lot more awareness of that. There's even a lot more resources to understand and know about our nervous system, and that it needs to be regulated, right? And so you may even be kind of tired of hearing about that you need to rewire your nervous system, or that, all of that, and that it's kind of, you may still not be really able to embody these concepts and really notice the difference. You're just kind of hearing this information being talked about. And really, with our frame, this includes, right, our nervous system. We even have, right, something that's emerging more and more, and something I've even been able to work with within my workout routine, is even working with our fascia, which is an internal structure that, that works with our body, that's even like a structure. It's like holding our body, and that can become very tight, which is intertwined with our muscles and our nervous system and all these things, right? And so without getting too far into that, because I'm not a fascia expert, I've got my trainer who is, but really just recognizing that that is part of our frame. So all these different parts make up our actual body, which is here living this experience, right? And our energy is running through our body. And so our frame also has to do with this energy that we live in, right? And so coming back to, right, when we work with our mindset, when we try to implement different ways of thinking about something, so we're really working on changing our beliefs, what happens is, right, we've also have this stored conditioning and programming within our frame, right? And all the aspects that I just mentioned with our body. And so if we are working on changing our beliefs, then, right, our body is going to have some type of response to that too. And so we've also got to work with our body. And so some people have kind of entered into healing and different like therapeutic modalities through the body, especially if they really didn't, get down with like CBT or mindset work or all that good stuff, right? And so they've entered through that realm. And really what the truth is that we've got to combine both of these. Expanding our consciousness is really about all of these parts that make up ourselves, right? And get them working together and being more coherent. And so the energy of where we're coming from, right, is what's behind all of this and what's driving all of this. So as we are also changing our beliefs and our mindset, we're also going to be working with our bodies and our frame to get that also expanding, and also being able to recognize that it is safe and that it is still okay. It's able to withhold these changes that we're trying to do within our mind. And right, part of that, really, we've got to get our energy behind that. We've got to um, really clear out some of that, like I've talked about before, emotional backlog, different things that is like clogging our energy and not allowing that to really run through us. And so it is really the lens and the frame, which then makes up our experience that we're having, which is really in consciousness terms, that's the dimension that we're living in, right? This is what actually makes up our internal and our external experiences, which is really the results that we're getting, the actual circumstances and situation in our life, as well as how we are experiencing that internally, right? So, are we feeling a peace, a satisfaction, a fulfillment within those things that maybe we are having externally in our, the results that we have been getting? Or, right. So, it's really about both of those. And so, within our dimension, right, we can kind of look at what is our actual experience, right? So all of this we're going to take in as information or observe and notice kind of where we're at currently, and then we can know which parts of this are needing the fine tuning, you know, and like we said, we're going to do all of this, but we might be honing in on certain areas depending on what we are experiencing, right? So if we have done a lot of work on our mindset and beliefs, and we're getting into a place where life is feeling like it's for us, and we're having maybe some more synchronicities and things like opportunities that, but we need to really work with our body, because our body's kind of internally freaking out or not knowing how to handle these changes, then we need to do some more of that work, right? Where I often see, right, we kind of need to toggle back to recognize, when did we get out of that lens where things are happening for us, and we've maybe gone back to a place where it feels like things are just happening to us, or I'm here kind of and I've got to go back to that hard work and that go productivity to get the results that I'm wanting in my life, and internally be able to feel that enjoyment and that satisfaction. And so within that, I actually am able to break down and give you specific avatars of what that looks like depending on the dimension that you're in. And that helps us kind of conceptualize. That helps as our human brain, like for us to really understand big energy, big concepts like this, we need a way to digest it. And so that's something that I share with you in, going in a lot deeper into or with the Revive Your Radiance 5D roadmap. And so again, that is in the description box if you would like to explore this further and go into that deeper. Where I really just wanted to bring in the recognition that the energy that's flowing through our body, and it's this kind of this entire makeup that is what's going to help us become and expand into a deeper consciousness, a greater knowing. And that's really where we can see our lives change. That's where we really can experience things that we didn't think were ever possible before, or on just like a more tangible level, like we can actually see ourselves getting the results. So we can see our bodies changing if we've been working on our wellness or our workout routine. We can really actually start seeing those changes and sustain them, right? If we have been within our relationships, we can really see things coming out of conflict, or even kind of out of just like this comfort stage into really a more connective and enriching experience, right? If you're thinking about your work or your business, right, that can be where things really start to flow. And also that you're getting the internal satisfaction, as well as, right, things are moving through versus just like hustling and or maybe even hitting a wall on getting the things that you're wanting, the results that you're wanting in your business or within your work even, right? This could be even say you're in leadership roles and you have concerns with either your like who manages you, or specifically I've worked with women where they are managing their teams. And so the leadership that they're providing to their team, really starting to see that flow and become easier. And again, within our relationships becomes more connective. And the more that we are in unity within ourselves and our own experience, or even within our relationships and community around us, that is where things not only start feeling much more fulfilling, we can really see change happening, and we can work towards how we want things to be versus maybe how, how you've been viewing them in the past, or even some of the problems that you might be noticing within your own environment community. So I am excited to be sharing this with you. I would love to know in the comments any takeaways you had from this. Certainly if you have any questions, and I would like to invite you to, for those of you that this is resonating with you, or you feel intrigued by how to understand this in a different way, in a more expansive way, then I would invite you to check out the roadmap that I'll have below. I also have private one-on-one sessions available if you're really looking for how we can apply this to you specifically, and really so that you can get the perspective and the precision to your actual experience, or whichever area of your life that you would like to apply this to. So I would love to see you there, and I will see you in the next one.